Savannah Cole stood outside one of the wealthiest branches of Empire Trust Bank, the very institution she had built from the ground up. Today she wasn't arriving as the CEO. Today she was just another customer dressed in a simple grey hoodie, ripped jeans and sneakers. She was unrecognizable from the polished corporate powerhouse who commanded boardrooms. She had one mission: to see firsthand how her bank treated ordinary people, especially black customers like herself. She took a deep breath and pushed through the large glass doors. The atmosphere inside was pristine: golden chandeliers, marble floors, and hushed conversations among well-dressed clientele. Almost immediately Savannah felt eyes on her. It wasn't just curiosity, it was suspicion. She walked up to the counter where a blonde teller, name tag reading Rebecca Morrison, lazily smacked gum as she scrolled through her computer screen. Savannah placed her ID and checkbook on the counter. If you're enjoying this story and want to hear more, hit that subscribe button now. Don't miss out. Good morning. I'd like to withdraw $25,000 from my account. Rebecca's blue eyes flickered with disbelief. Excuse me, Savannah repeated herself calmly. Rebecca scoffed. You need an account here for that. I have an account here, Savannah said, sliding her ID closer. Rebecca picked it up but barely glanced at it before looking Savannah up and down. I'm going to need to verify this. Hold on. She grabbed the ID and walked over to a sharply dressed man with slick back hair. Ethan Radcliffe, the branch manager. Savannah folded her arms, watching as they whispered. Ethan's face twisted in skepticism as he glanced at her. He straightened his tie and walked over, with Rebecca trailing behind. Ma'am, there seems to be an issue, Ethan said in a tone dripping with condescension. You're trying to withdraw $225,000. Savannah nodded. That's correct. Ethan smirked. And you're saying this is your account? Savannah's patience thinned. That's exactly what I'm saying. Ethan exhaled dramatically and held up the ID. I'm sorry, but this doesn't look like you. You don't have any proper verification to prove you're the owner. Savannah's jaw clenched. My name, my picture, my signature. What else do you need? Ethan chuckled dryly. Look, I'm not trying to be difficult, but you have to understand. People try to pull scams all the time. You expect me to believe someone dressed like you has this kind of money sitting in an account? Savannah's fists tightened. So now it's about the way I look, Rebecca chimed in. It's just unusual, you know. Savannah locked eyes with Ethan. Call security if you want. Call the police, but I'm not leaving until I get my money. Ethan sighed and gestured to the nearest security guard. A tall black man with a serious expression approached hesitantly. His name tag read James Holloway, Escort her out. Ethan instructed. James looked at Savannah, glanced back at Ethan, his hesitation evident. Sir, are you sure? Maybe we should. James shifted uncomfortably, his voice hesitant. Ma'am, I need you to leave. Savannah looked at him and said, Brother, you really going to do this? James's expression darkened, but he didn't move. Ethan's voice rose. If you don't leave, we'll call the police. Savannah smirked, pulling out her phone. Go ahead. She dialed a number and put the call on speaker. Darnell, she said when the line picked up. I need you down here now. Her brother's voice came through, sharp and firm. On my way. She hung up, and Ethan's smugness faded just slightly. Savannah crossed her arms. "You're going to regret this." The air inside the bank grew thick with tension. Customers whispered among themselves, employees cast uneasy glances, and Ethan Radcliffe stood with his arms crossed, his confidence unshaken. Savannah, however, remained calm but resolute. Minutes later, the glass doors swung open, and in walked Darnell Cole, Savannah's younger brother, dressed in a sharp grey suit. His presence demanded attention. A well-respected civil rights lawyer, Darnell was the last person Ethan wanted to see. "Save you okay?" Darnell asked, scanning the room. Savannah nodded. "They won't give me my money. They say I don't look like I belong." Darnell turned to Ethan. "And you are?" Ethan straightened his tie. "Ethan Radcliffe, branch manager. Your sister doesn't have proper identification." Darnell smirked. "Let me see the ID she gave you." Ethan hesitated but reluctantly handed it over. Darnell examined it for half a second before looking back at Ethan. "This is legitimate. What exactly is the issue?" Ethan scoffed. "It's unusual for someone like her to make such a large withdrawal." Darnell's jaw clenched. "Someone like her?" If this story resonates with you, hit that subscribe button and join us for more stories that challenge assumptions and inspire change. Before Ethan could respond, the bank doors burst open again, and two police officers, along with Detective Marcus Steele, walked in, scanning the room. "Who called in a possible fraud case?" one officer asked. Ethan stepped forward. "That would be me." Detective Steele, a seasoned black officer, turned to Savannah and Darnell. "And you are?" Savannah squared her shoulders. "Savannah Cole, CEO of Empire Trust Bank." Gasps rippled through the room. Ethan's face drained of color, Rebecca's mouth fell open, and James Holloway closed his eyes briefly, as if realizing the deep trouble Ethan had just landed himself in. Silence settled over the bank like a heavy weight. Every pair of eyes was on Savannah. Detective Steele folded his arms. "So let me get this straight. You, the branch manager, refused to give the CEO of this bank her own money, and then called the police on her?" Ethan stammered. I didn't know who she was." Savannah stepped forward. "And that's the problem, isn't it? You saw a black woman in a hoodie and assumed she was a fraud." Darnell crossed his arms. "That's called discrimination, Ethan." The detective sighed, shaking his head. "Miss Cole, would you like to press charges?" Savannah exhaled. "Not yet. But Ethan, you're fired. Effective immediately." Justice was served.